Hi everyone, welcome to IC Arts, a channel for artists and illustrators. I'm Irina, children's book illustrator, and today we are doing something new, and that would be the questions and answers series. I have collected quite a few questions from here, from YouTube, and also on Instagram, and this is not the last video for sure, so I will keep answering them as much as I can. And if you have questions that I haven't answered yet, please write them in the comments down below. If you want to real fast see what questions I will be discussing today, just look in the description. There are key points there for your convenience. Grab something to drink and let's enjoy the Q&A series. Now, the first question I have is really an amazing one, and it goes, do you think publishers of children's books prefer digital illustrations to traditional ones? I would say that many publishers of children's books, yes, they tend to appreciate the digital illustrations just because I think they're somewhat easily edited and modified during the production process, and a lot of digital illustrations could be done in a technique that resembles the traditional art, and I think those artists are in demand for sure. What I'm saying is there are a lot of brushes and effects that exactly look like it's almost like traditional art. For example, watercolor brushes, a lot of ink brushes, a lot of brushes that resemble the texture of a pencil. And there've been works that I was looking at. When I was looking at it, I was so surprised that it's digital. And in my opinion, being able to do digitally the work that resembles traditional art so well, it's actually like a very high level of professionalism or practice. Now, but let's not forget that traditional media will not stop being in demand. There are a lot of agencies, self-published authors, even high-end agencies who would still lean towards the traditional media due to probably its very unique and organic feel, especially if they're aiming for some vintage or even textural aesthetic. So if you're a traditional artist, stop thinking that digital is the only way to go these days. It isn't. And I think your portfolio is what matters most, and that's what you need to work at. In the end, I would say that, for example, I'm a digital artist. I started learning illustration by doing watercolor, but then I switched to digital. But I'm not saying I won't ever go back to continue learning be on my traditional journey, so to say. And what I'm saying is that my goal probably in the end would be to be able to work in a hybrid style, is when we use both traditional media and then add some effects digitally. And I'm sure it's actually very hard to say what happened when you just look at the work without knowing for sure, but to me those works are really full of the excessive amount of creativity, possibilities, and opportunities. So for me, if I would have a dream, for example, or some point B in my illustration career would be to master this technique of drawing in a hybrid style. But again, it's all a matter of preferences. There are clients, publishers, agents that love both digital and traditional illustrations, so just work in whatever media you feel comfortable. Now, question number 2 is also from YouTube. If I'm a beginner, is it correct for me to post drawings made by other people, such as tutorial videos on Behance? Well, I would say that right away, it is absolutely not advisable to post anything that you've been doing by other tutorials, but make it as your own work. It is your own work. You would say, well, I was drawing a mouse using this tutorial and then this is my mouse, but it actually isn't. The idea, the concept, and everything that's been used on this illustration was taught and shown by some other artist. In this case, I would say that what you're losing is your uniqueness and originality, and there could be questions with copyright concerns. And also, I think as a beginner, it's essential for you to start building your artistic presence, your identity and style, even if you don't have style in the beginning. So the rule of a thumb would be is, if you're publishing anything that you've been doing after watching a tutorial, you always put it like, this is my version of how I was practicing doing this, that by this, and that. So, and then you can obviously add the teacher to the post, for example, and this is actually amazing. Like if I would be doing a tutorial and then you would repeat after me and make the work and publish it on Instagram, I would be very happy. But if I see the work that you would post and there is no mention of me anywhere, I would be like, well, that's not exactly how it's supposed to be done. Now, another question is, I've had it before once, is how to use tutorial for your best benefit. And to elaborate this question, I understand you sitting down, spending time doing a tutorial process illustration, and then of course you want to share your result, and you've already spent so much time, and we know how important it is to keep posting things on social media. So what you could do is you could use absolutely every single technique that is applied by the artist in the video, but come up with your own concept. And this is actually how I do it. For example, if I'll be watching a video tutorial about a person drawing a fish, and I would just come out with a scene where the fish will be, but I will draw the fish completely different. You could change a few things, but if, say, you're learning how to color things, you could use the same techniques in coloring. If you're learning how to create a character, even better, because you are learning, so just come up with a different shape, proportions, line of action, and here you have it. It will be your personal character. You could, of course, mention that the inspiration came from whoever it came from, where, but if you're practicing for the sake of practicing, do that privately, and perhaps you could share it, but always mention that it is you've been doing practice, because your goal is to be original, and it's not as complicated as it seems. There is a book that's called Still Like an Artist, I believe, and it explains that everything that's been created by someone has already been created, but you just need to know a few things up your sleeve to be able to make to possess that work as original one. Another question I have is, what kind of orders do you get as an illustrator? So I always sort of promote myself as a children's book illustrator, and that wasn't my very first order, but my very first serious order was for the book. And ever since, I've been having orders for books, and these are my favorite types of orders. But aside from that, I've had orders for postcards, for coloring books, for educational materials for kids and various guides. I'll probably have to, something like that. And also I need to mention that whatever you have in your portfolio is most likely the orders that you will have. Like, for example, on my portfolio, I don't really share a lot of work or any work that I've been doing, packaging design, or even I'm not really very heavy on character design either, or that I've been doing board games or some sort of things like this. So for me, obviously, if a client is looking for someone to do a packaging design for whatever it is, and then most likely he will choose the illustrator who probably is already familiar with that. And I'm talking about Behance here. So whatever you have in Behance, these are probably the orders you will be getting. So for example, if you posted a project with stickers, but you hate doing stickers, don't post that project, because you will get orders for the stickers. So again, so it depends greatly on your portfolio, and I would say children's books are my main orders, and I love them, but I also want to always say, especially to the beginner artists, that it might not be for you. The reason being is that when you are working on the book order, it is a long order. You're doing the same thing for 1, 2, 3 months. And a lot of people get bored and tired. What I think is like the amazing thing is what I try to do is, while I have the long order, I also squeeze in shorter orders in between somewhere. So this way I kind of could switch my attention to something else and do a different thing. So yeah, that would be my ideal formula. I have 2 more questions, guys. So what is the hardest thing when working with clients? So I would say that 2 things I could point is obviously communication. And I don't know how to call it in one word, but I think in one word, a lot of clients I see, they don't really understand what it entails to be an illustrator. They don't understand why paying the amount of money they supposed to pay for the work they're doing is worth it, even though they understand that the work would be sold and they would make profit. Well, not necessarily, but ideally they would make profit from the work that we've been doing. And they don't understand the necessity of selling the license because, well, yeah, they just want to pay for the work you, like for drawing a certain thing. But whatever is going to happen with the work after, they do not take into consideration. And this is a very hard thing for me sometimes to explain it to them. Like a quick example, I had a client, she specifically mentioned it like about 5 times that the postcard design she wanted me to do would be sent to every single resident in some town. They were a company and they were promoting themselves. So the significance of that is pretty huge, right? It's only one postcard they do on Christmas, and it's going to be received by all of their dear clients, potential clients, right? And then I think it's worth spending an extra dollar in this if you want to have a good effect. And the next question, how do you communicate with clients? I included in here too. I would say it's a lot of people argue with me on that, but my favorite way to communicate with clients would be by talking to them, be so a video call or on the phone. The reason being is that when we discuss a topic, I could ask a question right away, I could come up with a question right away, I could hear what they are talking, and it will give me like more questions and opportunity to understand exactly what they mean, because this is my ultimate goal as an illustrator, to understand on 100% what the clients needs from me. And some clients, you can actually watch my video about different types of clients. There are clients who could say a few words and think you completely got their idea, and in the end it's 2 different things. Like I had an example, I had a client who wanted me, I didn't know he wanted me to do that at first because I don't have it anywhere in my portfolio. I don't draw posh or luxury houses, background designs, any of that. I'm a children's book illustrator, so I love to tweak and twist things, make them funny. And in the end, the client wanted me to illustrate, say, a couple arguing. Okay, and then the client wanted me to do some very modern design of a background with some vases, with some barn looks, and this is not what I do. And when we just started working, this is completely not the idea I had in mind of what I'm going to be doing. So, and we ended up, I finished working with the client. It's been probably one of my hardest orders, but the communication is key. For example, if we just had a phone call, I would already understand what the client wants. So 2 things I will ask you. In order to be very productive when you work with the clients and avoid unnecessary edits and this longer time of you doing an order, get as many references for the clients as you can. Do not start work if you don't understand completely what the client wants. If it is the client that doesn't know what they want, there are clients like this, they just want you to start and then we kind of go from there. Point right away, 2 edits, and then you start charging by the hour. Sign a contract, and it's a key thing that the client needs to understand, because this way the client will keep changing things no matter what. Just trust me on that. And so video call is a must for me when I'm working on the book. I don't understand how it is even possible to write the whole description of the feeling you want to get on the book. So phone call for me would be essential here. And I always try to explain to the client that it's essential to the client as well. Now, I understand that for smaller orders, video calls or phone calls are probably even, I could say, unnecessary, and they're very hard to do at certain times. So just thorough a description of all the work written is a must. I do not appreciate when clients leave me voice messages because it's very hard to follow, and I don't want to just look for something, re-listening to a voice message over and over again. So same thing for you. If you have some important things to list, write them in an email or WhatsApp or any other way you guys are texting, communicating with each other. So that's that. I believe, guys, and probably one more thing I could just share. I had once a client who sent me a description of an illustration that I knew was completely taken from ChatGPT, whatever AI program that was doing it, and I immediately wrote the client, I can't work with a client like this, and I'm ready to return the deposit. We worked it out in the end, but you know, when ChatGPT gives you, or whatever program gives you an answer, they sort of want you to include it. They just give you all the options. And for me as an illustrator, it was impossible to use all the options. It's basically looking at one view from all the angles, like it's impossible to draw. So just keep in mind that working with clients, and a huge part of it is understanding the client, working out some issues, but your most important thing is to be professional, to be polite, to always stand your ground. Do not be afraid to tell that would be $30 extra if, you know, because in the beginning you may think, oh, that's not a big deal. No, it is a big deal. This is your time. It costs money. Because if you won't do that, in the end, you'll just burn out. Trust me. So, again, any other questions, guys? Let me know. If you want some other format of me answering questions, please let me know. It's my very first time doing it. So I hope I did a decent job. And as always, I do appreciate your support. I appreciate your comments, your questions. I love them. I love communicating with you. So if you just want to say hello, write it in the comments. And again, questions, put the questions you have, and stay tuned for my other videos. I wish you guys all the best in your artistic journey. Do not give up, keep practicing, and believe in yourself. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, put the thumbs up, and I'll see you later.